everyone, and welcome back to another Exo Heroes Hero Spotlight. Today we're going to be talking about one of the 3 new heroes introduced with Season 2, Kylock. A quick overview, Kylock is a unique hero in terms of visuals. He brings a new crazy witch doctor kind of look, which I personally like. It's interesting, but sadly his kit isn't quite as special. A good combination of single target, AOE, and dots along with low mana cost make him a solid pick. But his synergy with Dorka is what really makes him top tier. Or does it? He's a fated hero with the darkness element, chaos class, and magical attack type. So now let's take a look at Kylock's skills. His basic attack deals between 494 to 594 damage to a single target. His A1 Moon Knight Reaper costs 1 mana and deals 300% damage to a single target. His A2 Soul Harvester costs 3 mana and deals 89% damage to all enemies, and corrodes targets, dealing 39% damage every turn for 3 turns. His passive Mana Absorb 3 removes a buff of an enemy and he gains 1 mana. He'll gain an additional mana if the health of the target is at 80% or more, and he removes 1 mana from the target and gains 1 mana for himself if the health of the target is at 30% or less. Absorb Soul is his second passive, and it's his synergy with Dorka. He heals for 100% of all damage from damage over time on all enemies if afflicted with Soul Bond. So now, why don't we get into what makes Kylock good, what makes him bad, and how you should use him. So, to be honest, when we first saw and heard about the new heroes being released, we, along with everyone else, were very excited to see what they could do. And after seeing Kylock's kit initially, we were kind of let down. It's not bad, but just not as exciting as we were hoping it would be from a fancy new hero. The Dot is a slightly higher cost and damage version of Baelish's A1, and several other heroes have 300% damage on 1 mana single target abilities. Bernadette and Sabrina come to mind. If we just focus on his actives for now, Kylock is definitely a hero designed for PvE content. The dots and low mana burst make him great for longer, drawn-out fights like PvE boss content, and situations where you want to break a lot of dark Guardian Stones. Speaking of Guardian Stones, along with Kylock and friends, Season 2 also introduced some changes to the combat system that we believe Kylock benefits from, albeit very slightly. The first being removal of elemental mana gain. We won't dwell on this too much since it's not a thing anymore, but 5-star units used to be able to gain mana through different criteria based on their element. For example, Frost units used to gain 1 mana whenever anyone on either team blocked. This system, while unique, made balancing heroes quite difficult, since if you had a hero with a good element like Frost or Fire, you would gain way more mana than someone with a bad element like Machine or Dark. Back then, Darkness heroes were not great at mana gen, so by removing this, Kylock and the other Dark heroes got an indirect buff. A new system has also been added to supplement mana gain, and that is, if you're a 5-star hero, 1 mana is generated for all heroes on your row at the start of your turn once per round. This is good for Kylock because since he has low-ish mana cost at 1 and 3, it means he'll always be able to use A1, and A2 is only going to take 1 round to save up. Now let's talk about the most interesting part of his kit, and that's the passive. Kylock is not only absorbing mana, he's absorbing souls too. So let's take a look at these in order. First, Mana Absorb is a staple in the Chaos class, a lot of heroes have it, removes a buff from an enemy and gains extra mana situationally. Honestly, it's not the greatest passive in our opinion, considering the mana gain aspects are tied to removing a buff, which probably won't happen too often. Kylock in PvP might work in the lower tiers, but when facing up against meta or even slightly off-meta comps, he'll get absolutely demolished before he could even make a real impact, with his passive or otherwise. Kylock in PvE makes a lot more sense, but oftentimes the most important buffs to remove, like those on bosses, are generally not removable. If the PvE scene or the PvP meta shifts to be a bit more buff and debuff heavy, this passive can find more value, but as it stands now, it's just not the greatest. Absorb Soul, on the other hand, is Kylock's synergy with Dorka, and potentially his greatest strength. Being able to heal off all dots on all enemies has potential to be massive sustain every turn. But wait, there's a couple of problems. If you're running Kylock with Dorka and he's affected by Soul Bond, he's already going to have a ton of healing through Soul Bond itself, which is 30% missing HP every turn. So the extra healing from Soul Absorb, although useful, we don't really see it being necessary. Then you're going to have the problem of Soul Bond itself. In PvE, the Kylock Dorka combo is great, but in PvP, if you run into the enemy Dorka, magic damage and dots, both of which Kylock has, are going to be a lot less effective, thus negating the healing that he could get from it. Kylock is also a Chaos hero, which means high attack but low HP, and this is why generally we're not huge fans of attack and Chaos heroes having healing base sustain, because their low base HP pools makes them susceptible to being a one-shot, in which case healing is useless. If Absorb Soul allowed Kylock to overheal into a barrier, that would make it a lot better, and honestly, maybe even a little bit overpowered. As it stands now, Absorb Soul is just not that useful in PvP where he'll get bursted down, and while it's usable in other content, if you already have Dorka, running Kylock with her is just redundant for the healing, and it seems suboptimal. Our current thoughts on the matter: Kylock is not as top tier as we teased him to be in the beginning, but he's definitely not bad either. A good hero with solid damage to carry you through early mid-story, and useful to keep around for Darkness Day PvE content. He's not going to be your PvP superstar, but he doesn't have to be useful. We would recommend trying for him if you already have Dorka, but if not, he's not worth stressing over. That's it for us today. If you have any thoughts on or experience with Kylock, please let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe. We have more Exo Heroes content on the way and videos out on Dorka and Neomi already, so go check those out if you haven't. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.